Today at the shed, we have one of the standout bikes from the 24 Bike Shed Moto Show. This is Rob's Triumph Thruxton. It's carb-fed, it has Hitchcox pipes, and we're going to find out all about it. Gents, thank you so much for bringing this beautiful bike back to the shed. Why don't you tell the people who you are?
I'm Rob, this is my Thruxton. Built it pretty much for the Bike Shed show.
So this was 24 Bike Shed Show we first saw this, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. Put it on Tom's stand. Yeah, it's been a labour of love for the last year really, leading up to the show.
I bet. And Tom, you're Hitchcox motorcycles, right?
Yeah, we're producers of motorcycle exhaust, predominantly within the Triumph Modern Classic range. We do a number of custom stuff as well, but Rob came to us with an idea for his Thruxton, and this is where it is today.
Yeah. And when did Hitchcox motorcycles started? When? 22?
Yeah, 22. So we're in our third year now.
And you do the F1 cars as well, right?
We used to do a lot of F1 stuff, motorsport. That's kind of where I honed my skills, if you like, and taken a lot of what I learned from that into what we produce in a lot of our systems that you see on the systems on the bikes today.
Oh. And so, when did this project start for you? When did you go, right, I'm doing a Thruxton, a no holds barred Thruxton?
So I had the Thruxton and a Bonneville. I took the Bonneville to Tom to have a drag pipe, a drag system done, and that was pretty straightforward. But then we got chatting about maybe what I was going to do with the Thruxton. I had a few ideas. Tom had a few ideas, and it just kind of developed from there really.
And when was this? This was
early 24.
Right.
I think we
So you got it together quite quickly then to be ready for May.
Yeah, the actual build, I think we stripped the engine out of the frame, I believe in January. I think it was.
Yeah, January. Yeah.
And then it
was this at your workshop?
No, it went to DWR Racing. They took the engine out. They did a lot of the mechanical work that you see that's been done on the bike. All the engine work has been done by them. The setup with the carbs.
The carbs. We can't just roll by the carbs like that. I mean, that's one of the things that, because Triumph, obviously, when they launched the new Modern Classics, they did such a good job of disguising all that modern electrics and all of that stuff in the sort of fake carbs that I think quite a lot of people walked past this and went, oh yeah, that's...
Yeah, when it was at the show, a lot of people didn't realise this is actually on carbs until they look closely. The throttle bodies, like you say, they look like carbs.
Was that always the plan to go carbs?
No, not at all. Yeah.
So how did that choice get made?
I mean, it started out with a conversation about how we got rid of the camber system completely. So there's no ABS, there's no traction control. We've pretty much backdated the bike in that sense. You know, it's become a classic, really. All the modern technology's been removed. So it's in its rawest form. And essentially, that's why the carbs happened. Dave suggested it in a conversation. Apparently, all we needed was air, fuel, and a spark.
Right, simple as that, yeah?
Apparently. So that's essentially how they came about.
It's such a striking part of the build. I mean, I've never seen it done before or since the Thruxton on carbs. Or a modern Triumph on carbs.
We don't know that it's been done before.
Right.
We've never seen a Thruxton or a Triumph, a modern twin, do the transition between the throttle bodies, the ECUs, and onto carbs.
And when you decide we're doing this on carbs, I mean, Tom, what does that change for you? Does that change much for you in terms of the pipes?
Well, once the carbs were in there, it's all about building in and around what you've got on the bike. I think the carbs actually sit a little bit closer to the engine than the original throttle bodies. So it's just working within that space that you can see there. The addition of the carbs with the exhaust give it a very unique tick over and sound when the bike's running.
It's so nice to hear it running, because I mean, and also the bluing in the pipes, because of course, like when it was at the show, it was just finished, hadn't run yet. Whereas now, it's definitely running.
Yeah, and being a high level system, and you know the colour scheme of the bike is very neutral. You got that coloration of the tie pipe running from the head in from blue into the gold as it moves further down the pipe. It's a statement piece, and it ties in with the bike, the forks, and everything sort of blends in nicely as one.
So like the frame is the frame, that's bare metal finish on the frame, isn't it?
Yeah, so the frame, we stripped it down to a frame, as Tom said earlier, it went off to Davewood Racing. That was the start of the project, really, to decide where we go from there. Then we were talking about having a different finish on the frame because it was just a bare frame.
Is it clear coated or?
And Tom suggested we get it all stripped off, and we decided it looked pretty good, stripped back. So we asked Camco in Warrington if they could preserve the bare metal without it rusting, because obviously it needs some sort of protection. And they did a clear coat ceramic finish. So it's the same as having a ceramic coating, but it's just got no colour. So it's a clear ceramic finish.
And did you take the tank back to raw as well? Is that the same coating?
Yeah, we got in touch with Pro Custom. So Arnie stripped the tank completely, left it with a brush finish, and then clear coated it. Did the Hitchcox logo on there by hand, which is a nice touch for the show, and that's why I've ended up here.
Yeah, he did the tank being bare metal. I mean, it ties in with the coloration on the exhaust against the bare metal tank. I mean, Arnie did a beautiful job of that.
Stunning. I love the way the colours have all come together. When you cut the forks are they black on the stock bike?
Gold originally.
Gold, of course, right? Because it was an arm.
Correct, yeah.
And then you've got the blue that comes in the coloration of the pipes. Seeing some purple down here, so there's Maxton internals in there.
Yeah.
Are they so it's shower forks, Maxton internals?
Yeah. So the only bit that's left of the shower fork is literally the outer stanchion, the feet, and the inner stanchion. Maxton have completely rebuilt the fork, so they've got a cartridge inside the fork now, where Showa had them full of oil, so they were quite dull in that respect, and it's transformed the bike completely. And again, we've put the rear shocks on from Maxton as well, so it's all been set up for my rider weight and how I ride. So
you've thrown everything at this, haven't you?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, we've not held back.
Only came in for an airbox delete and exhaust.
And the hell calipers and lines. Should we do a front to back?
Sure.
Do you want to walk us through? So wheels, stock?
Wheels are brand new stock Triumph wheels. A friend of mine managed to source them for us from Triumph, and originally they were silver, so we replaced them with a brand new set of wheels. The whole bike's essentially new from the beginning.
I love the details, like the headlight mount and stuff.
That was Tom's handiwork.
That was Tom. So, Tom, which bits have you done beyond the exhaust? Like, did you do the tail loop and stuff like that?
We had a chap called Jeff Kane, co-built, who took care of the hoop for us.
Right.
He got rid of all the bracketry that was housing the EFI and the ABS. And then we were responsible for, we did the headlight brackets, the exhaust naturally, and then we did the lights which sit inside of the hoop, which is a nice little touch.
Oh yeah, and the combination indicators brake.
Yeah,
that's 3-in-1.
Yeah, 3-in-1. Stunning. And I guess when you're building it, there must have been a big pile of the stuff you took off it. Just like the electrics and the loom must have been
Yeah, half of that's on my bike.
Because you've got, what do you run? Do you run a Thruxton or a...
I've got a bobber.
Right.
Yeah, so we're in the process of doing a bit of conversion for Thruxton wheels on that.
Amazing. Okay, where did we get to? We did the front end. What's the clock?
So the clock's a motor gadget. The top yoke is custom made to house it. Tom did a fantastic job on that just before the show, altering the angle of how the clock sits in there.
So, wiring. What's where the loom once was? What have you got left?
It's a bespoke system, right from the top to the bottom, essentially. There is an M unit blue which sits under the tank. That's had a brand new wiring loom built around it. And that's part of the reason why we removed all the EFI system. We got rid of the ECU that comes with the Thruxton.
Yeah.
We built another system using an ECU from an 865.
Because the 865s ran carbs for a while?
Some did,
right.
Yeah. It's a very specific 865 year dates that ran on carbs.
Right.
With this engine has a 270-degree firing order, so trying to match that up was very difficult. I don't really want to go into much more detail on how we did it, but
Give away all the secrets. I mean,
yeah,
you kind of think when you say it, it sounds like an easy job. I always swapped out that for carbs, but I can't even get my head around where you'd start.
I mean, ultimately, we've got to hand it to Dave Wood. There were times when Tom and I were looking at each other and having many phone calls about whether or not we should have done this and whether we should have believed in whether Dave could do it. And
Here it is.
here it is,
Yeah.
running.
But in doing everything you've done, there's so many other things that just become so clean and simple. Like basically from the carbs back, there's just pipes and frame, isn't it? It's so simple. And presumably, what few wires it has, are they all routed through the frame?
Essentially, yeah. As I said, the M unit blue sits under the tank.
Yeah.
With that 865 ECU. Under this seat there is a small tray with a very, very small battery from essentially what they use on circuit bikes.
Right.
And then we've just got a small amount of wiring sat there as well with a couple of relays for the starter.
So to simplify something is extremely complicated.
Yeah.
Man, and Tom, talk me through the pipes. I mean, the routing once the carbs are on, presumably they were one of the last things to happen.
So the carbs were put in place. Dave Wood took care of that, and then the bike came back to me ready for the exhaust. And the remit was, Rob kind of just said he wanted it loosely, he wanted it in titanium pica, and it was going to be high level. And then, other than that, he kind of just said, just go away and kind of do your thing a little bit.
Amazing. I mean, the way they sweep back through the centre of the frame.
Yeah, so coming out the head, I trialled going in with a bigger bend, a bigger loop, didn't like it, so came in through a little bit tighter. It just keeps the bike a little bit more compact, ties in, sits inside the frame a little bit nicer, and then coming round through the carbs, trying to make it so that it's, it flows nicely, but you're not just putting pie cuts in for the sake of pie cuts.
Well, and with these sort of the gentler bends around here, could they have been bent, or why the choice between pie cuts and bend?
Yeah, absolutely. Pie cutting is generally a technique when you can't achieve a bend on a tight radius.
Right.
You pie cut it to achieve that tight radius. It's done more so in this sort of application for aesthetics, really.
Right.
But you have got the choice between bend and pie cut, and it's mainly down to aesthetics and your
Taste,
preference on that.
Beautiful. I love the way they both just poke out under that shortened rear subframe.
Yeah, so we finished it in these little billet taper rings, which are a nice little finish. They just give it a little bit more of a premium edge to it, as it sits outside the hoop, They're a nice way to finish off the exhaust rather than just having an exposed pipe or tube, if you like.
Did you say they're billet at the end?
Yeah, they're titanium billet and they're tapered. So they go from like whatever the material thickness is at like 1 mil up to like 3.2, which is not a lot, but it just gives it a nice, well-rounded finish. And they also have our lubricants in there, which give it a little bit of sound dampening. Right. They just take a little bit off the high frequency.
Not a lot.
Not a lot, but it's enough for it to be noticeable. And it's those sort of fine details that are the difference.
What haven't we covered? So the shocks you said are maxed in as well?
They are, yeah.
What are the tyres? I really like the tyre choice.
So the tyres are Dunlop GP 100s, and there's a 180 on the rear. So we've had to rebuild the rear wheel, offset it to allow for the 180, offset the chain on the sprocket and also the front sprocket.
Wow. The swing arm changed at all?
Yeah, the swing arm's been powder coated. Right. So originally it was silver, and we powder coated that when we stripped the frame. It's quite difficult to decide on what should be black, what should be silver. We tried a few different combinations and it looks good black.
So what have I missed? What haven't we touched on?
The seat base we had produced by a chap locally to us actually, who specialises in doing like wide wheel kits for like retro Porsches. And that's quite a robust material, solid. And then it was sent off to Tom Hurley,
yes,
who took care of the upholstery on it, which is really nice finish, like leather sides with the Alcantara on the top. It's beautiful.
He always does such beautiful work, doesn't he?
He used his media gel in it to make it comfortable but still thin. So it's actually really, really comfortable to ride, which looking at it you probably wouldn't think.
Such a great visual from the back with the low clip-ons. The bars are super clean.
Yeah, so that's Motor Gadget switch gear on the bars. The clip-ons are actually from a company in Australia. We couldn't get the original clip-on to work with this new top yoke.
It's really nice the way they're not sort of welded to the front of the mount. They can come out the side like that.
There's a lot more adjustment in these as well, and obviously they're very discreet how they attach.
And then you've got the L levers.
Yeah, brake and clutch lever, Rizoma, reservoir, yeah.
What's the switch gear? Is that Motor Gadget?
Motor Gadget, yeah.
Fantastic. And so, what's next? What are you guys planning next? I see Dutch is pestering you about pipes for Royal Enfield scramblers and things.
Yeah, we've got a project coming up with Dutch fairly soon. I'll let him dictate the timeline on that.
Right.
But, yeah, it should be pretty exciting. And then we've got, we're just going to continue developing products for the Triumph Ready to Ride range, the Modern Classics.
And because you've got your design your own range as well. We had, because at the show last year, you had the Thruxton and the Sticky Speed Shot Ducati together, didn't you, on and off the stand?
Yeah, that was, there's another two projects that we took there, the Thruxton and Matt's Sticky's Ducati was two projects that I'm really proud of. Yeah. And they got a lot of attention at the show.
They sit in the sort of design your own custom bespoke.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
That's the next one we need to hear running. We need to get that coming down the drive, don't we?
Absolutely, yeah, that'd be lovely, yeah.
What about you, Rob? What's next?
Enjoy riding it.
Yeah.
I've had a tough year with some health diagnosis. This bike's been a big part of distracting me through that. Tom and I have grown to be pretty good mates. The amount of times we've been talking over the project as well, and just getting out and enjoying it, I think that's the next step.
Yeah, there's so many.
Waiting for some good weather.
Well, hopefully. We didn't get the day for it today, did we? But yeah, there's so many decisions to be made along the way, isn't there? You just spend so long thinking about each detail and back and forth on it. And with this, the level you guys have gone to is amazing.
Yeah, there was no stone unturned with it. Me and Rob were multiple conversations in evenings trying to work out next steps and what would work and what doesn't work. But that's kind of the beauty of these projects is when you meet somebody that is fully invested in a project, it's it's exciting, and it's nice to see it where it is today, which is finished and running.
It's an incredible piece of work, gents. Thanks so much for bringing it down. And yeah,
Pleasure.
see you in May.